A strange contradiction sits at the center of modern life. The harder people push themselves to stay busy, the more exhausted and mentally foggy they become. Productivity has turned into a constant race. Phones vibrate every few minutes. Notifications pull attention in different directions. Schedules fill every hour of the day. From morning to night, the pressure to do more never stops. Work harder, move faster, stay productive. That message repeats everywhere. Yet hidden beneath this culture of endless activity is a quiet truth that most people overlook. Some of the clearest thinking, the most creative ideas, and the most powerful decisions in history appeared during moments when nothing was happening at all. Not during meetings, not during frantic work sessions, not while multitasking. Those ideas appeared during stillness, during silence, during moments when the mind was allowed to slow down and wander freely. This is the strange paradox. In a world obsessed with constant action, one of the most powerful skills a person can develop is the ability to step back and do absolutely nothing. The idea sounds almost ridiculous at first. Doing nothing appears lazy in a society that celebrates busyness. Sitting quietly without checking a phone feels uncomfortable to many people. Even a few seconds of silence quickly turn into an urge to open an app, check messages, or scroll through endless information. The modern brain has been trained to chase stimulation every moment, but the human mind was never designed to operate under constant pressure without pause. When activity never stops, the brain slowly loses its ability to think deeply. Focus becomes weaker, creativity fades, stress quietly builds in the background. Many people experience this every day without understanding the real cause. They feel mentally tired even after resting. Their thoughts feel scattered. Concentration becomes harder. The solution they usually choose is to push even harder, believing that discipline alone will fix the problem. But this approach only adds more pressure to a mind that is already overloaded. History reveals a different path. Many of the most influential thinkers understood the hidden value of stillness. Moments of quiet reflection played a surprising role in the development of powerful ideas that shaped science, philosophy, and creativity. Some of the greatest breakthroughs did not appear while someone was forcing their brain to work harder. They appeared while walking alone, sitting quietly, or allowing the mind to drift freely without pressure. When the brain is not forced to produce immediate results, it begins connecting ideas in unexpected ways. Patterns become clearer. Problems that once felt complicated suddenly reveal simple solutions. This mental state is not accidental. Neuroscience has discovered that when the brain is allowed to rest from focused tasks, a different network inside the mind becomes active. This network helps process memories, connect knowledge, and generate creative insights. In other words, when nothing seems to be happening on the surface, the brain may actually be doing some of its most important work. Modern life rarely allows this process to happen. Every empty moment is quickly filled with stimulation. Waiting in line becomes a moment to check a screen. A quiet walk turns into time for music or podcasts. Even a few minutes of boredom feels uncomfortable, so the mind immediately searches for distraction. Over time, this habit trains the brain to avoid stillness completely. Silence begins to feel unfamiliar. Many people reach the end of a busy day without experiencing even 10 minutes of true mental rest. The result is a constant cycle of stimulation and exhaustion. The mind never gets the opportunity to reset, organize thoughts, and recover from the flood of information it processes every day. What appears to be productivity slowly turns into mental overload. This video explores the hidden power behind a skill that seems almost forgotten in the modern world. The art of doing nothing, not wasting time, not avoiding responsibility, but intentionally allowing the mind to step away from constant activity. Throughout this video, you will discover why quiet moments play an essential role in creativity and clear thinking. You will learn how the brain behaves when it finally escapes endless stimulation. You will also uncover why boredom, which most people try to avoid, may actually be one of the most important triggers for original ideas and deeper understanding. There are fascinating facts about how the brain reorganizes itself during rest, and surprising examples of how powerful discoveries were connected to moments of stillness rather than endless effort. Another important part of this journey will reveal why modern culture has made this simple skill so difficult to practice. Many people feel guilty the moment they stop being productive. Silence creates discomfort. The urge to check a phone appears almost automatically. Understanding this psychological pattern explains why so many individuals feel trapped inside constant busyness even when they know it is exhausting them. By the end of this video, you will also learn how small moments of intentional stillness can gradually restore mental clarity, strengthen focus, and even improve the way decisions are made. The most surprising part is how little time it actually takes to begin experiencing these effects. There is also an irony hidden inside the concept of productivity. The world encourages people to keep pushing forward without stopping, yet the brain does not operate like a machine that can run endlessly without maintenance. It works more like a natural system that needs cycles of activity and recovery, effort followed by rest, concentration followed by silence. When this rhythm disappears, performance slowly declines even though the person may appear constantly busy. Understanding this simple principle can completely change the way a person approaches work, creativity, and personal growth. Stay with this video until the end because the final sections reveal a simple method that can help retrain the brain to become comfortable with stillness again. It does not require complicated routines or hours of meditation. Just a few intentional moments of silence can begin to unlock a mental clarity that many people have not experienced for years. Once the mind relearns how to step away from endless stimulation, ideas begin to flow more naturally and focus becomes stronger without forcing it. Welcome to the channel, a place where psychology, self-mastery, and deeper thinking come together to reveal powerful insights about the human mind. If this type of content interests you and you want to explore more ideas that can strengthen your thinking and improve your life, make sure to subscribe to the channel and join a growing community focused on understanding the hidden patterns behind success, clarity, and personal growth. The journey into the quiet power of doing nothing begins now. Endless motion has quietly become the normal rhythm of modern life. From the moment the day begins, activity rushes in without pause. Alarms ring, messages appear, screens light up, and attention immediately moves toward tasks, updates, and responsibilities waiting to be handled. Silence rarely lasts more than a few seconds before another signal pulls the mind back into action. Waiting in a line rarely means standing quietly anymore. A phone appears almost instantly. A short pause during the day often becomes another chance to check notifications, scroll through social media, or respond to something that feels urgent at the moment. Even moments that once belonged to rest are now filled with stimulation. The human mind moves from one piece of information to another without stopping long enough to settle. What once felt like calm space now feels uncomfortable to many people. Quiet moments bring a strange tension, as if something important is being missed. The habit of constant engagement has grown so strong that stillness begins to feel unnatural. This pattern slowly trains the brain to expect stimulation all the time. Each notification creates a small burst of attention. Each message demands a quick reaction. Each new piece of information invites the mind to jump again. The brain becomes used to this rapid switching between tasks, and after a while the ability to remain focused on one thought begins to weaken. A person may sit down to concentrate on a single idea, but the urge to check something else quickly appears. The mind becomes restless. Thoughts scatter in different directions. Instead of deep thinking, the brain moves in quick, shallow bursts of attention. Productivity starts to look busy from the outside, but internally the mind becomes more fragmented with each interruption. Modern culture celebrates this busyness as if it is proof of ambition and discipline. Schedules fill with tasks. People talk proudly about being busy from morning until night. Activity becomes a symbol of success. Yet beneath this surface of constant movement, another reality slowly develops. Mental exhaustion grows quietly in the background. The brain consumes a large amount of energy while processing information, making decisions, and reacting to new situations. Every time attention shifts from one task to another, the mind spends energy adjusting. Over time, this repeated switching drains mental strength. At first, the effect feels small, almost invisible, But as days turn into weeks and months, the mind begins to feel heavy and tired. Focus becomes harder to maintain. A simple task that once required little effort now feels surprisingly difficult. Creative thinking begins to disappear because the brain rarely has the chance to slow down and explore ideas deeply. Stress levels rise without a clear reason. Many people feel overwhelmed even when they cannot explain exactly why. They move through the day reacting to whatever appears next, rather than choosing their actions carefully. The mind becomes reactive instead of thoughtful. Instead of calm reflection, quick responses dominate decision-making. This state often leads to frustration and burnout, yet the connection between constant activity and mental exhaustion remains hidden for many people. The trap becomes stronger because the solution most people choose is to push even harder. When focus drops or creativity fades, the instinct is often to increase effort. More hours of work appear necessary. More productivity tools promise better efficiency. The idea of slowing down feels like the wrong answer in a world that praises speed and output. But the brain does not function like a machine designed to operate without pause. It behaves more like a living system that requires periods of activity followed by periods of rest. Without this balance, performance gradually declines even though the person may continue working harder. A quiet shift begins when the pressure to constantly produce finally disappears for a moment. When the brain stops forcing itself to focus on a specific task, something unusual begins to happen beneath the surface. A different mental state appears, one that operates quietly in the background. In this state, the mind no longer rushes from one demand to another. Instead, it begins to move freely between thoughts, memories, and ideas that were previously scattered. Information collected throughout the day starts to connect in unexpected ways. Problems that once felt complicated slowly become clearer. The brain enters a mode that works without pressure, yet often produces deeper insights than hours of forced concentration. This quiet mode appears during moments when attention is relaxed, rather than tightly controlled. It can happen while standing under warm water during a shower, while walking without a destination, or while simply looking out of a window and allowing the mind to wander. During these moments, the brain begins organizing thoughts that were previously stored without structure. Experiences from earlier in the day mix with older knowledge and form new connections. The process feels effortless, yet it can lead to powerful realizations that would never appear during intense focus. Many people notice that their best ideas arrive during these calm moments rather than during periods of intense effort. A problem that seemed impossible to solve suddenly reveals a simple answer while the mind is relaxed. A creative concept appears without warning during a quiet walk. A clear decision forms while staring into space after a long day. These moments are often dismissed as coincidence, but they are actually signs of the brain performing an important function that only becomes active when pressure disappears. Stillness creates the space where the mind can explore ideas freely. Without constant stimulation, thoughts begin to travel deeper paths. This process may look unproductive from the outside because no visible work appears to be happening, yet inside the mind complex activity continues quietly. Memories are reviewed, experiences are evaluated, patterns become visible. Over time, this background processing strengthens understanding and creativity in ways that constant busyness cannot achieve. Boredom plays an important role in this process, even though it is often misunderstood. Most people treat boredom as an enemy that must be eliminated as quickly as possible. The moment boredom appears, a distraction quickly follows. A phone screen lights up, music begins playing, or another form of entertainment fills the empty space. Yet boredom serves an important purpose. It signals that the mind is ready to search for something deeper than simple stimulation. When external input disappears, the brain begins generating its own activity. This internal search can lead to imagination, reflection, and creativity. Children often demonstrate this ability naturally. When they are left without constant entertainment, they begin inventing games, stories, and ideas using only their imagination. The adult mind still holds this capacity, but it becomes weaker when every quiet moment is filled with ready-made distractions. Boredom, when allowed to exist for a short time, opens the door to original thought. Many discoveries and creative achievements throughout history were connected to moments of stillness rather than frantic activity. Quiet reflection has often provided the environment where complex ideas finally came together. A mind that is constantly reacting to new information rarely has the opportunity to explore deeper connections between thoughts. Stillness creates that opportunity by removing the pressure to respond immediately. Another powerful effect of doing nothing appears in the way it restores mental energy. The brain consumes a large portion of the body's energy, even though it represents only a small part of the body's weight. Every decision, every reaction, and every shift of attention requires fuel. When activity continues without pause, the mind slowly becomes fatigued. This fatigue does not always feel like physical tiredness. Instead, it appears as difficulty concentrating, emotional irritation, and a sense that simple choices require more effort than they once did. Decision fatigue begins to grow after the brain spends long periods processing information and making choices. Each notification, message, or task demands a response. Even small decisions accumulate until the mind feels overloaded. At this point, people often make impulsive choices simply because their mental energy is depleted. A pause in activity allows the brain to recover from this constant demand. When the mind enters a period of quiet rest, stress levels begin to decrease. The nervous system shifts away from constant alertness and moves toward a calmer state. Breathing slows, muscles relax, and the brain reduces the amount of energy spent on monitoring external threats. This shift allows mental resources to rebuild. Focus gradually improves, emotional reactions become more balanced, and clarity returns. Many people mistake this form of rest for laziness because it does not produce immediate visible results. In reality, it performs an essential maintenance function for the brain. Just as muscles require recovery after physical exertion, the mind requires periods of stillness after intense thinking and decision-making. Without these pauses, the brain continues operating while its resources slowly decline. Despite the benefits of quiet moments, many individuals find it extremely difficult to simply sit and do nothing. The moment silence appears, discomfort begins to grow. Thoughts race quickly. The urge to reach for a phone becomes strong. This reaction is not a sign of weakness, but rather the result of cultural conditioning that has developed over many years. Modern society often measures value through productivity. People receive praise for long hours of work and constant activity. Rest is sometimes treated as a reward that must be earned rather than a necessary part of healthy performance. As a result, many individuals develop the belief that time without visible output is wasted time. This belief creates guilt whenever the mind attempts to slow down. The pressure to remain productive also encourages constant comparison. Social media platforms display endless examples of people appearing busy, successful, and active. Watching these images can create the feeling that everyone else is constantly achieving something important. Taking a quiet break may feel irresponsible when surrounded by the appearance of non-stop progress. Breaking this pattern requires understanding that the brain functions best when activity and rest exist in balance. Just as nature follows cycles of movement and recovery, the human mind grows stronger when effort is followed by stillness. Periods of work stimulate learning and progress, while periods of quiet allow the brain to integrate that information and prepare for the next challenge. A simple practice can begin restoring this balance without requiring large changes in daily routines. Setting aside a short period of time each day to sit quietly without distractions can gradually retrain the mind to become comfortable with stillness again. 10 minutes may seem small, but even this brief pause allows the brain to step away from constant stimulation. During these moments, the goal is not to force the mind to remain perfectly empty. Thoughts will appear naturally, and that is part of the process. Allowing these thoughts to move freely without reacting to them gives the brain space to organize ideas that were previously scattered. Over time, this practice becomes easier, and the mind begins settling into calm more quickly. As this habit develops, many people notice subtle changes in their thinking. Clarity increases because the brain is no longer overloaded with constant input. Emotional reactions become more controlled because the nervous system has time to recover from daily stress. Creative ideas begin appearing more frequently because the mind finally has the freedom to explore deeper connections. This shift also reveals an interesting irony about productivity itself. Many individuals spend years trying to maximize every minute through constant action, believing this approach will lead to better results. Yet the most effective thinkers often understand that real productivity includes moments of deliberate rest. These pauses allow the brain to maintain its strength and creativity over long periods of time. The mind behaves less like a mechanical engine and more like a natural ecosystem. Growth occurs through cycles rather than endless effort. Just as fields require time to recover between harvests, the brain requires moments of stillness to restore its ability to think clearly and creatively. When these cycles are respected, performance improves naturally. Effort followed by rest forms a rhythm that supports long-term success. Continuous movement without pause slowly drains mental energy and weakens clarity. Stillness restores that energy and prepares the mind for the next period of action. Within this rhythm lies a powerful truth that modern life often ignores. Sometimes the most valuable step forward begins by stopping for a moment and allowing the mind to breathe. A quiet moment may look small from the outside, but inside the mind it can change everything. In a world that constantly pushes people to move faster, think faster, and produce more every second, choosing to slow down becomes a powerful act. Stillness gives the mind the space it has been missing. It allows thoughts to settle, ideas to connect, and emotions to calm down. Many people spend years searching for clarity, creativity, and focus without realizing that the answer is often hidden inside the simplest habit of all. A few minutes of true silence can restore the balance that endless activity slowly destroys. The mind begins to breathe again, and when the mind breathes, thinking becomes sharper and life feels lighter. Now take a moment and think about this question carefully. When was the last time you truly did nothing? No phone in your hand, no music playing in the background, no messages pulling your attention away, just a quiet moment where your mind could rest without pressure. For many people, that moment has not happened for a very long time. Modern life has trained us to escape silence as quickly as possible, yet silence may be exactly what the brain needs the most. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs do not arrive during intense effort. They appear during calm moments when the mind finally has the freedom to wander and explore. Share your thoughts in the comments below. When was the last time you allowed yourself a moment of real stillness, and what happened during that moment? Your experience might inspire someone else to slow down and rediscover the quiet power of doing nothing. If you enjoy content that explores psychology, self-mastery, and the hidden patterns behind a stronger and clearer mind, make sure to subscribe to the channel. A growing community is forming here, focused on understanding how small changes in thinking can create powerful changes in life. Also, take a second to like this video and share it with someone who may need a reminder to slow down in a world that never stops moving. Because sometimes the smallest habits, the quietest moments, and the simplest decisions can create the biggest transformations. And sometimes the most powerful thing a person can do is absolutely nothing.